Okay, this week it's Baby Driver. This month. For the month of April, Anita picked Baby Driver, and I'm guessing she picked it because John Hamm is in it, and he was in Aardvark. He was one of the lead characters in Aardvark, probably the third lead in Aardvark, and he's probably about the third lead in this movie too. So, let me show you what Aardvark is. That's the IMDb. So it is a 7.6 out of 10, which is a pretty high rating. And this is Baby Driver. So, Ansel Elgort, a man you'd think he'd want a new Hollywood name. Elgort, it's not a very romantic name, especially when it becomes Baby in this. Kevin Spacey, Lily James, John Bernathel, John Hamm, Jimmy Fox, Eliza Gonzalez, Flea, Sky Vieira. It's funny, the Flea played a certain character in the show, and I thought it was Paul Williams. That's hilarious. I thought you take Paul Williams and make him old from, I don't know, he was in the 70s, and you sort of thin him out and make him 75 years old. And that was obviously Flea. That's hilarious that I thought that was Paul Williams. It just had this, maybe it is Paul Williams. Maybe Flea played somebody else. Maybe that was Paul. It just his voice, everything. No, Eddie No-Nos. That was different. So that wasn't. Maybe that still was Paul Williams. Maybe I should look further and see if Paul Williams was in this movie. Cast. See the full cast. It's Paul Williams. Come on. There he is. Look at that. Paul Williams was the guy who was the leader of a certain gang selling guns or something like that. It was Paul Williams. That's hilarious that I was able to figure that one out. Oh man, when Flea came up, I thought maybe he could have played that character, but I guess not. So Jamie Foxx is in it. It's essentially a story about somebody who was in an accident when he was younger, and that's Baby, and he has sort of tinnitus, and he has a problem. Just sort of focusing, probably some autism spectrum-y kind of thing, also simply because he playing this music seems to drown out the tinnitus and gives him a focus, and that seems more like an autism-y kind of thing than just tinnitus. Plays earbuds and plays music, and that seems to get him in grooves. And he stole a car when he was young and got in trouble with a mobster played by Kevin Spacey, and he has to pay back his debt, and so he pays back his debt by driving for the bad guys, and he's an incredible driver and gets them out of sticky situations. It's ranked 7.6 in IMDb, and I really didn't expect to see that number because it really, I mean, there was aspects of it, the Fast and the Furious aspects of it, that made it a half decent movie, but ultimately it just was over the top on the action side and the gangster saying all the gangstery kind of things and trying to be cool, and all the tough guys being tough and shooting them up. It so contradicts something like The Sopranos, which was usually long and slow and just had moments of gangstery kind of thing, and the rest is just stupid people be doing stupid things, having ridiculous life problems. And this was all about the action and about the being a gangster and solving the problems of how you get as much money from a bank robbery and how you're going to get away with it, and every single time they turned a corner, there was, 4 cops following them. They had 8 cops, then a whole bunch of cars following him, and the car's getting away, and he finally gets away and turns around another corner, and there's 6 cop cars facing them, and it was just so overly exaggerated. I think it would have been better to just had one car evade that person and get away from the cops, and then make it look like you actually had 35 cop cars that all got into crashes because you were so smart and could escape. So I wish that wasn't part of the movie. Now, maybe I just like realistic movies more than most people do, but I don't think I would like the Fast and the Furious series just because it's so ridiculously over the top, and it's the realism that makes me like a movie. But this character, Baby, let me show you. There he is, right there. He's sort of young, good-looking. Nobody of the gangsters. There's Jamie Foxx right there, and there's John Hamm and Kevin Spacey, and I mean, even Jamie Foxx, who's a fantastic actor, is like overacting his and I don't even know if it's so much overacting as the written screenplay was just so you be the coolest guy and you call yourself crazy and you're so mad crazy you'll do anything to be a better robber, and it's that the calculation in creating that character, all the characters were just so ridiculously over the top. That you didn't really believe in the characters. That wasn't an important part of this movie, I guess, other than Baby, and then the girl that he meets. She's a waitress, and her name is Lily James. Let me get back to Lily James. There she is. There's Lily James. And she's a waitress, and he sort of meets up with her, and he starts to sort of fall in love with her, and she wants to be a free spirit, and he wishes he could be a free spirit. He's sort of tied in with the mob, and then he's sort of now done with the mob, thinking he can go after the girl, and the mob sort of pulls him back in and says, "Oh no, you paid your debt back, but now you got to do the real work." So Baby ends up having to go back and do another job, which he really doesn't want to do, and he wants to run away with Lily, and he's really hoping to, but Kevin Spacey, being the gangster that he is, he finds out who Lily is and finds out where he lives. He lives with somebody who brought him up after his parents died. That's where he got the sort of tinnitus from. He was in a car accident. So it's strange that he became a really good driver after he's in a car accident with his mom. You'd think he'd be very fearful of cars, but and it sort of shows you a few times the accident that he was in when he was a youngster in the car with his mom, and his mom was a singer, and he loved listening to her voice, and that's partly why he puts the stuff in his ears, is it brings him back to, he's got a special tape called Mom, and he liked the way she sang, and so it shows the accident a couple of times, and Mom's driving, gets distracted, and runs into the back of a truck. And there's a scene where he sort of has to do that to get out of a situation. It's ram a car into a truck. And you think they would have applied on that a little bit more, the decision making, the thought process, and it would have sort of flashed back to that's what got him in the mess of a life that he has right now, which is the tinnitus and the sort of not being a normal person, and ends up working with the mob. But the fact that he had to do that same thing, it was strange that they didn't sort of play on that more, because it could have been a real sort of heart-wrenching kind of gut moment of, I've got to make this decision. And I mean, the gangsters were just too far over the top. Watch The Sopranos. And that's even better than The Godfather and all the other movies, because what makes The Sopranos great, and Tony Soprano specifically, is he's a mobster who has all the power and kills people, and or doesn't usually kill himself, but has the control and power to have people murdered, And yet he's at home with his son getting in trouble at school, and he has to solve the problems, and the wife wants him to donate more money to some cause, and he doesn't really want to, and they get in arguments, and then his daughter doesn't want to go to the school that they want her to go to, and all the regular problems that everybody has. And here's this mobster during the day and night, and I mean, he does it all the time, but it's his life that you get to see, and you get to empathize with him because he has the same struggles and problems that everybody has, and you're on his side. So when he does the abhorrent stuff, you just sort of, pass it aside. You hate it, but you still feel sorry for him because he's got other troubles like everybody else does, and I guess you realize that everybody has those problems. That's what. So it's funny that this movie is bringing me to The Sopranos so much, but I guess the over the top aspect of Baby working for the mob, doesn't really want to, has all these mob characters he works with, and they're over the top, shoot him up, I want to kill everybody, I don't give a crap about anything, and they'd be long dead way before then. So he ends up being stuck with doing another job and not wanting to do it, wants to run away with the girlfriend, she wants to run away with him, they sort of have the same dream in life, and they get caught up in his last job, and she sort of gets caught up in the last job. A lot of twists with the mobster Kevin Spacey figuring out who she is, and I'd have to see the movie to see how it sort of ties it all together. But so did I like the movie? In ways, I like the movie. What would I give it? Maybe a 5 or a 4. Now, most people give a 4 to a movie they totally hated, and we don't play that because statistics are ruined by people who think that an ugly person is a 4 and a hot girl is a 10. That means you're between 4 and 10. If somebody calls you a 6, you go, "Oh my goodness, that's awful. Why would you call me a 6? I'm way better looking than a 6." When realistically, on the average, people are 5s. Some are 1s, some are 9s, some are 10s, some are 0s, whatever the numbering system you want to. But what's the old adage? 80% of the drivers think they're better than 50% of the drivers. Not everybody can be good and good looking, and not every movie. You can't just say it's between a 4 and a 9. 9 being like the best movie ever, and 4 being like one of the worst, or 3.6 or 3.2. I think the worst movies are 0, and the best movies are 10. And so this would be about a 4. It means it has some redeeming qualities. I even think some movies that are 3s and 4s that on IMDb are listed end up being movies I really like, only because they maybe not even well acted, but they're telling the story or trying to tell a story that's realistic. And this is just so not realistic in so many levels. It might as well be Superman, and bullets bounce off these people, and you have to suspend disbelief and all that. But they're trying to pretend it's totally real, and yet trying to make it so that you can be shot at with submachine guns and walk away from that situation quite happily. So, yeah, she's a 4. Probably spend your time watching other movies. I'm guessing Anita picked this because of Jon Hamm being an aardvark, but she's usually deeper than that, and we'll have another twist on why she picked this movie. And some director who slept with another director on a vacation, and they made the movie after drinking a pina colada, and that the last movie was made after the director drank a pina colada after he slept with a different director. Like that, she's gonna come up with something of that kind of nature that is not as obvious as Jon Hamm's in both of them. So I've got to look for a movie for next month, and I mean, if you watch Baby Driver, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear somebody like it. Can't wait to hear what Anita thought of it, because she picked the movie. And I can't imagine she liked it. I really can't. There's so many shoot-em-ups and gratuitous violence that I can't imagine her thinking that this was a good movie. The love story, the want to be with the girl and run away and get rid of your problems, I get that sort of trope, but they could have done it so much nicer in so many different ways. Okay. Thanks for listening. Bye.